how much have you sold?
I think I've personally sold 300 million.
How old are you?
23.
And you've done all this from 19 to 23.
Yeah.
Moved across the world to do it.
Yeah.
You're one of the like most high-performing people I've ever had the pleasure to work with.
Thank you.
And you've literally scaled a multi-billion-dollar company from 2 million a month to hundreds of millions a month. So
yeah, there's over 15 people on my team, and we're about 11 sales reps and then 4 full-time account managers.
I really want to go through let's kind of like go through that theory of like, if you were to at a brand new company, you're a brand new software company.
Yeah.
How are you going to go about getting the very first customers?
For sure. So I think for me, like how I think about like really anything is in a concept called peer groups. So I think, for example, oftentimes like SaaS companies, or for me, like I originally started making money in NFTs. Like it's taboo, but like my start was really just like scale NFTs. I ended up scaling to like 80,000 followers. I did a project. I made 3 million. That was like my first internet money before I got into SaaS. And what I would do is I would pretty much just like segment people either by geography or like business model, but ultimately really just by who their friends are in their friends group. And so that's as simple as going to like a Twitter profile, going to the mutuals, following all of those mutuals, noting down who's important or who are commonalities, like go to the next profile, see if there's strings attached, and almost make like a mind map of, okay, if I get this one person, who else do I get? And so whenever I'm tackling a new market, what I always like to do is I always like to first, like if it's social media selling, which most SaaS people are doing, either like Twitter or email, I always like to find the people that I really care about, that I know are influential, and compliment them. So for example, for you, if I was trying to get into like, for example, podcasting or maybe like SaaS or AI, I would find something, and I could just run an agent now on you, and I could be like, what are some interesting things about you? And I could just be like, yo, what up? Like, I love the podcast you recently did with, let's say, RNG. Like that was fantastic. You're one of the best people I've ever met at podcasting. And that's it. And the only goal that I'm trying to do out of that is get a follow from you. So when I start going after your friends, I've now got almost like a portfolio of mutuals, so that when I go to pitch you or whatnot, A, I'm already in your inbox because I just gave you a compliment. And B, you give me a higher social status because I'm followed by people that you already deem as socially big and like has socially high status. And so that's what crushed for me, especially in NFTs. Like I used to run that. And then also Whop, like I started in the trading space, and that was predominantly B2B selling, Twitter selling. And all I would do every day would just like hammer compliments to all of these traders. And eventually I'd have like 40 mutuals. So then when I reach out to someone new, they think my opinion is higher social than if I was like some random agency saying like, hey, can I do 10 thumbnails for you? Like I'm the cheapest on the market.
So you're calling this peer groups.
Yeah.
And so you're super on top of, okay, I'm going after a market. These are the most influential people in this market. And so I need to infiltrate that group.
Yeah.
And so I'm going to find who are like the top players, who are they friends with. And you're doing that by going to their Twitter accounts, looking at their mutuals.
Yeah.
Then you're going to try to infiltrate. Really, your first goal is just to get a follow.
For sure.
So then you have their mutuals follow you, so they're more likely to engage with you.
Yeah, exactly.
Then to do that, you're just sending out compliments.
I mean, it's like really manipulative, but it's like I was doing like what I was doing when GPT first started. We would go after like sports picks businesses, like they're running paid communities selling sports picks, and I would take their logo on Twitter, and they fucking sucked, like some of the worst logos I've ever seen, and I would just put it into ChatGPT and be like, make this logo better. And I would actually dead ass DM them and go, hey, our internal Ukrainian designer just made you a brand new logo. I love everything you're doing. I just want to use this for free. And I would just send them, and I would obviously chat GPT it or like make it with AI, and I would just hammer them with these logos, and they'll be like, oh my God, dude, this has changed my business. This is so phenomenal. And they would all follow me aggressively. And then what I would like, and so from there, like now I've built social proof that like I am an influential figure in this market. So like for maybe in your sphere, if I'm thinking about Twitter, I'm thinking like, how do I get Greg Eisenberg to follow me? How do I get maybe Corey Levy from Z Fellows? How do I get maybe Arib from 21 Labs? Like, how do I get those people to follow me? And so when I speak my opinion or when I outreach to you, perception's reality that now, because all of these people that I deem are important follow me or are engaging with my content, my outreach or therefore the value I'm providing is significantly better than others.
Yeah, dude, this is incredible because literally saw you launch a project, make $3 million,
Yeah.
and you didn't have a lot of Twitter followers. Like you were doing this one by one,
Yeah.
but then this was kind of like a growth hack in a way for
Yeah.
Twitter because then the most influential people now follow you.
For
If you
sure.
tweet, there's a good chance they'll retweet it.
Yeah.
People see the retweet, see that they actually follow you, then that help you like really build momentum
Yeah.
on Twitter as well.
It's funny because like it really started in like,
If you're building a SaaS and you're deciding what stack to use, I highly recommend you use Whop to process your payments. With Whop payments, you can accept payments from customers in over 194 countries, and it takes less than 2 minutes to get set up and start accepting payments. Whop also has authorization built in, so it's perfect for indie devs that are trying to build apps rapidly. If you want to use Whop to process payments for your software, go to whop.com/sell or visit the docs at dev.whop.com. Back to the episode.
this whole thing, and there's no shame in the game. Like I didn't scam anyone, but like when you were launching a new NFT project back in the day, or even like a new company, what people would do is they would have these essentially groups of like people, like these group chats,
Twitter groups, yeah.
and they would say follow this account. And so when people see there's a new coin or a new project starting, and they'll see, oh my God, 200 of the most influential people in NFTs or crypto follow this one account. Therefore, it must be a good project. That's kind of the same thing you're trying to replicate, where it's like, okay, if I'm trying to get into, let's say, for example, like I want to launch a new AI email sending tool, like a list kit or like a Lemlist, I'm going to make sure that I have all of the agencies that are would use those products and sending mass emails following me, so that when I speak about my platform or my no-code SaaS or whatever it is, they go, oh my God, everyone, all the ICP that actually cares about sending cold emails follows this individual. Therefore, that product must be good, even if they're not subscribers.
Gotcha. So you're really laser focused on like the top of the top most influential people in any peer group, no matter what it is. So
for sure.
Any new business, you go for the most influential people, infiltrate the peer group, try to be perceived as one of them. And then you're just getting referrals on top of,
for sure.
Not only are they engaging with you and following you. So what happens after you send them a message and you compliment them, they all start to follow you?
Yeah.
What's the next step?
Yeah, for sure. I think the next step is really like trying to continue the conversation with someone that's shown a level of interest. So for me, it's like, okay, I've gotten, let's run a scenario, like 40 people that are following me as mutuals. I'm starting to put some content out. Like they're starting to deem me as somewhat valuable. That's when you start to pitch. That's when you start to, and I wouldn't say like, hey, I just built this platform. Like I would say more so, hey, I'm starting to experiment with an MVP. Here's like the idea that I'm trying to put into market. I'm really mainly targeting like people that are interested in like cold email sending. What do you think if I did this? Right. And so you're almost like coming to these people as if they're like giving you advice versus actually selling them on things. And what you'll find is that if you're asking them for their advice, one, they're probably way more, you're already in their inbox because you already complimented them. It's not going to work for everyone, but it'll work for some. You're coming from a position of, I want your advice. They're probably more likely to engage with you versus like if you came from defensive, one, they're just going to shut you down or not reply. But also if you're coming from a perspective of you're my big brother, I want your advice, that actually might be valuable for your product. And you can be like, oh, Brett told me that I really need to improve my landing page. I can go improve my landing page and come back to him and say, hey, I improved this. And then you can start to pitch him and be like, hey, I built this out. I think this is really useful. Like, would you like to try it? Or what would it take for you to maybe use this? So I think when people are starting like from bottoms up, it's oftentimes from a position of like, I want to sell this person versus like, I want your advice. Because like, I've always, and this is what I try to do internally, is like whenever it comes to like cold outreach, or even if you're on a sales call, like let's say you're like, you always want to come from a standpoint of like, one, knowing as much context as you possibly can. So like if I'm having a sales call with you or like I'm starting outreach, I want to actually know exactly pinpoint what your issues are before I go and pitch you. And so for me, what I've always found that works more than anything else.
How do you, I'm curious, because if you reach out, you ask them for, like, give them a compliment, then you're asking them for like trying to build a relationship, asking for advice, which is really smart. Like you're not asking, you're like actually like trying to give them an opportunity to help you instead of like asking for money. So how are you, because you're doing this with a lot of people, like how are you managing all of these conversations? Because you're doing it very tactically. And you are doing it very intentionally.
For sure.
So how are you managing all these people? Like, did you like make a list? And then you reach out and you like say, talk to this person, this is what I talked about, or like how do you organize everything?
Yeah, so I think you're asking more like how you manage sales reps at scale.
Not even sales reps, just your sales process. Yeah.
In general.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think for me, it's really just like you want to build, like you want to define what you view as segments. So like, for example, in our business model, there's like, for us, we're selling B2B, like oftentimes processing or like a creator platform. You can segment in a couple ways. You can segment by business model. So for us, it's like coaching, agencies, their platform, their brick and mortar, their SaaS. Like you can segment in that way. You could segment in vertical. So you could segment like trading, sports betting, reselling, real estate. And then you can segment in what I've found really well, distribution platform. So like YouTube, Twitter, Instagram. And oftentimes like how I like to do it is I like to park specific people on the segment of, okay, here's the business model, it's coaching. Here's the vertical, it's trading. Then it's YouTube, right? Or then it's Instagram, or then it's Twitter. And then you segment through how they're doing the distribution platform. Because if you think about it, like more often than not, like they're not, if you think about like our ICP is like a coach, if you're a coach that's doing real estate, you're not, like you could assume that all coaches that do real estate all know each other and all look up to each other.
For sure.
That's a false, I think, assumption. But if they're a real estate coach that's on YouTube, 100% they're going to be comparing themselves to other YouTubers. I see what you mean. 100% they're going to be comparing themselves to other X accounts. So it's more segmenting by the distribution platform more than anything else. And then you park someone on that.
That is so true. So I know all the YouTubers.
Yeah.
I have zero clue who does software on Instagram whatsoever. That makes a lot of sense.
For sure.
But you're still leaning into that peer group method. Okay, so once you've infiltrated so you've segmented that way, do you track conversations like granularly, or is it just like every day wake up, check your DMs?
Yeah, I think it's more like you run a CRM. Like I think like more than anything, like I think there's some weird aversion to a CRM because it's like, oh, I'm just another like enterprise like cog in the machine. But for me, like even when I was doing like the NFT stuff, and I would say I crushed it pretty hard. Like I end up launching a project, and then I was making like $200K a month off my agency alone. And that's actually how I found Whop. They were a client of my agency. And what I did, which is like probably very autistic, was like I made for myself a CRM of every single influential person in what I cared about, which was NFTs at that time. And I found all of their X accounts, and I did a Notion. I had about 200, and I would make sure every single day, every second day, I would hit them up.
Every other day.
And I would be like, yo, what's good? Or like, or I saw you did this, and this is really interesting. And for me, that was pretty fantastic, because that's how I pretty much did all of my like agency work, because I knew what projects were being launched. I knew what coins people were talking about, what NFTs people were talking about, and I knew what the market sentiment was. And so for us, like we now from an enterprise SaaS level, we kind of taking that same thing that I did for just like myself, and we're just productizing that, where it's like, okay, let's say I'm Sam on my team. I'm in charge of real estate creators on Instagram. I'm going to like, even if for example, I've got them on Whop, I actually own that segment. So it's not only about closed deals, it's also about like the segment generally. And I'm going to try and stay up to date with the entire segment, because our business today, like most of it is referral based. And that's because you just own that segment. So you can say like, okay, Jim, I just closed your real estate entrepreneur on Instagram. Who else is up and coming that's crushing in real estate? Oh, you know them. Can you introduce us? So it's more like full ownership end to end of a segment, which we use a CRM for, and both focus on like existing deals and already deals that we've closed.
How do you ask for the referral?
Really, it's just saying, hey, do you know anyone?
You're really direct. I've witnessed it a lot. Like you are super direct, but it's like it comes off in a fun, playful way. Like there's something about the way you say stuff that's just like, yeah, I guess.
I mean, it's really like if you were to evaluate yourself, it's like, am I providing entertainment or value?
Yeah.
like saying question mark or following up, like just doesn't work. Like, hey, just circling back. Like, hey, just following. That just shit does not work. Like, I mean, if you look at me, you probably can't see on the podcast. I'm like a 6'4" skinny dude. Like, I'm not your traditional macho, like, basketball, like, or football sales rep. I'm like a skinny dude. And like, for me, I take a very like, for sales or like in general, like I take a more like internet approach, where it's just like, it's not about hard selling. It's not about like these like talk tracks that you're doing. It's more just like, for like, what are the heuristics you're following? And it's like, am I providing value? Am I being entertaining? Am I guessing? Like, am I not guessing? And as long as you follow those, you're normally pretty good at what you do. Like for you, for example, like I'm sure your inbox is blown up by like so many people trying to reach out for your advice, whatnot. Like if I'm like, hey, Brett, like I can give you, 100 new leads right now. Or if I'm selling like leads, like you're probably going to be like, no. Right. Or like, but if you're like, oh, hey, Brett, like I found your favorite CSGO team and I just secured you front row tickets to that CSGO team. Do you want to come with me?
We're best friends.
That's like, whoa, like you're providing me value and that's somewhat entertaining. Like who the fuck DMs me with CSGO tickets that, and as an outreach method. And so that's always kind of the heuristics I try and approach to.
Entertainment is funny too. Like you were just very funny the first 2 times I met you. You had the best emoji game on Discord. You see me like these like crazy ass like dude. Random GIF animated like
Patrick.
I'm waiting.
It's like it's Patrick Bateman with his headphones on with like his suit walking in, and like I would start all my conversations with that. Like especially when we were early in like Discord days for Whop selling Discord, and like crypto is obviously very Discord heavy. Honestly, like the best follow-ups were just like a GIF.
Yes. Like, every time I saw a message from you, I'd just laugh.
Yeah.
And I'd be like, damn, I want to talk to this guy again.
And it crushes. Like, so I would say for anyone out there, like try and lean on, am I being entertaining or am I providing value? And if it's neither of those, like probably move on to the next person.
Well, I love how you're like also, not only are you like focused on the first most influential people, I like how your mindset is mainly for product feedback. Like you're not even trying to ask them to be a customer or to make content for you. You're like actually asking them for product feedback, which is a good signal that you're serious.
Yeah.
So not only are you you're focused on the most influential, important people to use your product and be your first customer, so they give you feedback, but now in the future, they'll either refer you to their other friends, and simultaneously, if you do need them to do some sort of like promotion or whatever, they'd be more open to the conversation for sure. So it's like the most high leverage, like precise, impactful thing you could do when you're starting a software or any type of company.
1000%.
So smart, dude. Yeah. Okay, now that you've actually, because you're at Whop, you're like flexing your muscle because you're going after. I like how you've systemized it. Like you're in the peer groups because now we're going across so many different verticals. So it's just really cool to see how that evolved from when you were like literally an 18-year-old kid in Australia, staying up in American hours overnight, making millions of dollars, coming here and then scaling this company to billions of dollars from like as a teenager, bro. Yeah, it's just insane if you just say that out loud. It's pretty cool. So. Very impressive.
Thank you.
But I'm curious now, like you're building out the actual team. How long was it that you were just solo? Like when did you guys actually start hiring people?
About a year.
A year?
Yeah.
And then I would be interesting to hear how you, because I know we've kind of landed on this system now of like referrals and everything, but like what were all the different things that you tried as a salesperson that like,
oh man,
like different systems when you were trying to figure out how to scale a team? Because now you have the system down. We have like 10 plus people.
Yeah. I mean, for me, like I'm an internet kid. Like I don't like going out and talking to people straight up. Like I don't like going to these networking events or anything. And I honestly think they're a waste of time straight up. For me, I mean, we've tried paid ads. It didn't work too much for ICP. I mean, for me, like there was things like we would send edible arrangements. So we would look up like Brett Malinowski, your address, and then we'd find your registered address and we'd send an edible arrangement. That actually worked a couple of times where it's like,
so gifting.
We would send a gift and then we'd have a note on it. We obviously tried the GPT, like I just made you a logo, like here's what's really working for it. Like the like gift giving is like crushed pretty hard for us in all honesty. It depends on the ICP you're going after, but like for us, we were going after like really like people that are selling courses or like info products and like they're often sold like it's when you actually think about if you were to break down their inbox, it's like agency services are the number one people targeting them. And so if you think about like differentiation, it was very much gift giving, complementing gift giving. Cause like, especially now that you've got agents and you've got AI and you've got all these services that are outbounding, like it's oftentimes just like pretty lame. It sucks. Like if you think about your inbox, like you'll probably reply to a fan that's like giving you a compliment. So that one worked for us. And then also layering like gift giving was a huge part of it.
So you said something interesting, differentiation. So you're saying, you're trying to understand what typical people are reaching out to them. Yeah. What type of person's typically reaching out to them, what message they're typically getting. Yeah. And trying to specifically come up with the diffiation strategy to 100%. Get their attention.
Yeah. 1000%. So like you might've seen this and like, there was that guy that was like, he was like, he's outbound. You might it went
Yes.
viral on Twitter. It's like he was saying the N-word.
Whoa, what?
Like
So
he
a
was
different guy.
Yeah, he was like, I don't know, maybe cut that out. But he was like, you saw that? It was like he was like saying like, I'm gonna fucking like, if you do not reply to me and let me sign like 10 clients, I'm gonna end it all right now.
Okay, I did see that. Yes.
And then he started falling out with the N-word, and he was like, and I was like, oh my god, this like. Yeah, it's like really bad, and like, why would he say that? But like, I checked that, 100% checked that.
It got your
DM.
attention.
Yeah, 1000%. Did it convert? No, but like, am I the ICP? No, but like, if you think about it, it's like an inbox drowned of of just like absolute rubbish.
I'll get you 100 leads. Like that's the worst.
Yeah, it's like I'll get you 100 leads. I'll book 10 clients for you. Please let me try for you. Please let me be your first client. I'm just starting. Like, it's just drowned, right? And so it's like, okay, cool. Like, okay, if I think about you, it's like if I pop up in your inbox, and like Instagram and Twitter both do this, they see the mutuals. Like it will show you in the inbox request there's mutuals. If I have mutuals and I'm giving you a really strong compliment and I don't look like a bot, you're probably going to open that DM, right? So it's like really any angle you can do for differentiation. I mean, even for cold outbounds, like we've been trying that working on email, and that's been crushing. And we've found that like for info products specifically and info product businesses, the bigger ones have a CRO, a chief revenue officer, and we're just starting our subjective CRO inquiry, adding Split It, which is like a financing option, to your stack to get a 20% increase on your spend, right? So that's been crushing, because it's like, it's really just like, what is this person getting day to day in their inbox? And then how do you make it so that they want to click it? And that's it. And that's
you just call the
literally
ICP, you tell them the outcome that you're going to offer.
Yeah, and that's it. And it crushes for us. I mean, we've done cold calling, never really worked. I don't find that works too much for like modern internet businesses. Like I don't know how many people like get cold call and that actually works. But our biggest strategy has really just been paying highly connected people in peer groups to then refer us businesses, and finding incentive structures. So like, for example, if you think about like an email sending tool, there's probably like maybe proxies certain people use, or like maybe certain I don't know, agencies that set people's emails up. I would try to find what the common denominator is across whatever your ICP is, and try and partner that. For us, it was like funnel builders. Funnel building's huge. Agencies, sales agencies was massive, because if you think about course creators, especially higher ticket ones, they all have sales reps. Who's going to go out and build a sales team for a course? It's probably going to get outsourced to an agency. And so we're like, okay, instead of going to 100 of these different like individual businesses, we're just going to partner with the sales team so that their go-to like payments platform is us and what we're using. And so I would think like, okay, how do I differentiate myself in the inbox? But also too, like the faster way is, what are the common denominator servicing my ICP? And how can I honestly pay to play to like target that ICP?
So you literally will find, you'll infiltrate a peer group.
Yeah.
And you'll find a high value peer group, and at the certain level, we're a B2B SaaS, so we make a lot more money per customer.
Sure.
But you'll pay people like $5,000, $10,000, $20,000, something like that, to literally refer you to their friends.
100%. And it's not like an affiliate. Like we've tried like a percentage of our revenue. We've tried like just straight cash, like as in like based on processing volume. But what's worked for us is honestly just being like, yo, here's 25 racks, make group chats. That's it.
That's insane.
And that just like, and it's not like, it's almost like you're selling. Like people think about an affiliate as like they have to hit a conversion for you, especially in B2B SaaS, where it's like, oh, if I'm paying you 25K, you should be setting them all up on Whop, or you should be putting them on my SaaS.
You get to do the work.
But we've just found like, okay, there's only so many high value people that actually matter. Just make group chats. That's the hardest part. Like, it's just
I was so shocked when I learned this, because it's like, I know 25K might sound like a lot of money to people, and people are like, oh, that's like a lot. The people that you're offering this to are making millions of dollars a month.
100%.
And so I'm like, I am shocked that people would do something for 10, 15, 20K.
I know, it's crazy.
But they're willing to do it. It's simple, because you're taking all the work away from them. So it makes sense now. But like, that's just a crazy, I would have never thought of that. I could just pay someone $1,000 and they'd introduce me to someone who could be a $20,000 client.
I mean, the hardest part, like for example, if I'll use the same example, like Greg Eisenberg or like a Blake Anderson. If I am able to like get them on my side and I'm doing like an AI SaaS, that and the hardest part I would often say about like Greg Eisenberg or Blake is probably starting a conversation, to be honest. And so for you, like all we're doing is we're arbing your influence with those two specific individuals. And we're just saying to you, it's as simple as like, Brett, we're going to give you 25K, just make a group chat. But for us, it's Brett, we're going to give you 25K to arbitrage that they see you as a trusted figure.
Right.
To then put us in a group chat so he replies and entertains the
warm
conversation.
intro. The warm intro is everything.
Yeah, it crushes.
Like, it comes with weight if I'm going to introduce you to these people. They'll take the call out of respect for their relationship.
Yeah, and I mean, it works for B2C too, right?
Yeah.
Like think about like who is like the most influential person that can promote your business or use your business, and then reverse engineer that. Like it doesn't have to just be for B2B.
Interesting, bro. What's your Twitter handle?
Oh, at Gronquiz, Gronk.
You still rocking the Gronquiz?
Bro, it's my Black Ops 2 gamer tag.
Nice, bro. That goes hard.
Yeah.
Respect that. Just so everyone, for context, I cannot express how valuable what you just said is. Like the last 20 minutes have been boom, boom, boom. Whop went from zero to an $800 million valuation with zero marketing, only you and Cam. And everything that you're discussing. So I hope everyone understands just how this might be the most valuable information I've seen on YouTube regarding sales for software. So thank you. You're sharing everything. I didn't know if we were going to go this deep into the actual details of what you do, but holy shit, I'm kind of mind blown.
Yeah.
Now, was the gift giving something that you actually like, now that you have a sales team, is like everyone like on protocol to like give gift?
For sure.
Yeah. And then once they have a good network to then pay for referrals, essentially.
100%. So like for us, it's like, okay, we're servicing people that are making like very, very good cash flow businesses, like $500,000 per month, right? Like they're making stupid amounts of money. They've barely got any staff. But what's amazing that we've found is if you give them like a custom engraved, like cigar case or like a bottle of champagne and it says like their business or their logo on it, it's $500, like online service, deliver it in like 2 days, 1 day. They go nuts because they're an underserviced like ICP that really are just like behind their laptops every single day and never get catered for.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, there's even, I think the most nut stuff is like a custom rug with your logo. Like you can get those ordered so easily.
That's interesting.
Like it's nuts. Like if you think about like some of these people like golf and it's like, okay, we're going to get you V1 Pros, which are like, I don't know shit, but like accordingly, these are the best golf balls with your like logo on it. And people are like, oh my God, you like care about me and this is unbelievable. And that's not to say like, I love giving gifts and I love their reactions, but if you're talking from like a pure, like no emotional standpoint, it's an incredible art where it's like, you're just getting like a small, minute thing in relation to, and you could think of it as like, they make so much money. Why would they care? But it's like the sentimental value associated with that. And like, oh my, you care about me is one of the greatest sales things we've ever done.
Interesting, bro. It's probably a normal thing in like the corporate world, but like all the creators,
not
like
for internet money.
Such an informal thing, new. Like that really would stand out to me.
I mean, even just like on our organic side, this is what wasn't so much sales, but we were for a long time like using like an auto pen, whereas like you write like a auto like handwritten card. It looks like a handwritten card, and as soon as someone makes $1 on Whop, we would just auto ship a handwritten card that is just like from our founders. And then people would be like, oh my God, I just made $1 on our platform and you guys sent me a handwritten card. Obviously it's not handwritten, it's an auto pen, but like
personal touch.
Most people won't realize that it wasn't, they would think it's handwritten.
It feels like a personal touch.
And so it's like, and that the loyalty you get associated with that is just unfathomable. Like I haven't found anywhere else.
Are there any other little like details like this that you can remember trying or that have worked well for you when you earlier on, especially?
Buying people's products crushed.
Yeah, actually buying the product.
Yeah, like I bought your like let's say like for paid groups especially or like courses or anything. If you're selling that, I was like, oh, I bought your course.
Just joined, excited.
I just joined, and then it was like, okay, I'm in your community. Like, hey, I just bought your product. Like, how do I get in touch with you? Like, and like that crushed pretty hard. Like, whereas like, oh, I just bought whatever you had, or like, or even like if you think about, let's say you're servicing, I don't know, like roofing companies, and you're building a SaaS for roofing companies. Even just as simple as filling out their, if they have like an intake form, filling out that intake form, being like, I filled out the intake form. Here's the feedback I had with that form or how you did it it crushes his outreach because you're almost like you're taking a position of authority because you're actually like using their product or like taking and then from there giving feedback on it. And they would say, and you can position that as like, hey, Brett, I just went through a YouTube channel. Your thumbnails, what I noticed is you're not using XYZ technique, which I've seen is crushing for people. This is what you would see, like, just a heads up, like, and that's the outreach, like, or like, hey, I just went through your SaaS product. I noticed that you guys have no customer support. I found amazing success with Decagon.ai, and that's it. That's your outreach, and it's like giving value.
But you have to give the answer.
Yeah,
you have to give the answer.
You have to know what you're talking about. But for us, it was like, you would maybe go through, let's say, their product or their funnel or their webinar. And like oftentimes for our ICP, webinars are made by really the same people, like a Jason Fladlin or a Russell Brunson. They've got the same style of selling. And we'd go through it and we'd be like, hey, we noticed you're selling like a Russell Brunson style webinar to a higher ticket product. What we realize is that you are not embedding a checkout. And so your conversion rates are probably going down by 10%. And that's like, you can do it in a very casual way. Like I wouldn't do it in like a very formatted, but providing value or like, hey, I just bought your product. This is my experience. That crushes really hard as outbound.
It's a really important nuance is that I get a lot of those where people are just insulting me. I'm like, bro, like, dude, your thumbnails are like basically they're saying your thumbnails are bad. I'm like, tell me what to do better or give me an example.
Yeah,
They don't like actually give me the answer, which pisses me off. I'm like, fuck you, bro.
Yeah, and it's just like, but like you could easily reposition that and you could just be like, thumbnails is quite saturated, so it's probably a harder one.
For sure.
I'd like, if anyone has a thumbnail SaaS right now, I'd buy you some CSGO tickets to a tournament. Probably, I'd go a different route. But like, if it's more like an underserved niche or even B2B, like for us, it's really just like, it's what, $19 for an ebook or like $20 for a course. Like you just buy it and be like, I watched it, I learned it. Or now you can just fucking get a virtual credit card of like Slash or Ramp, put it on an agent, get the agent to like buy it, and then
how are you using AI?
For
Shopify store owners, what if AI could pick up every customer phone call and answer it instantly? Order info, product questions, shipping details, AI does it all. Human agents are pricey and only work 8 hours a day, where AI works 24/7. What if you could give it to them for a fraction of what human reps cost? With an AI agent that never sleeps and solves 70% of calls on its own. That's what Seth does. Ringly's new AI support rep. Here's how. A customer calls your store's number, Seth answers and asks how he can help. Then he'll answer any question your customer has. He will even pull Shopify order info and tracking details. And in unique cases where a human is needed, Seth can transfer the calls to your team. So no more typing endless emails, no more hiring expensive reps, just happy customers and more sales. And the best part is you can now install Ringly from the Shopify App Store and have automated support 5 minutes later. On top of that, they're offering a 14-day free trial, so there's no reason not to test it out. This is the future of customer support, and your competitors will catch on to this soon. Don't get left behind and stop drowning your team in customer support tickets. Search Ringly in the Shopify App Store or go to ringly.io. That's ringly.io. Get the app now before your competition does. There's a link in the description. Thank you for sponsoring today's episode.
Us right now, we're doing a lot with scraping. So we're scraping pretty heavily, and also categorizing. So like we're doing a few, me personally, I'm doing it for like hiring funnels. So I'm getting it to like go through my applicant funnel and be like auto reject for these reasons or approve for hiring. So that's one of the main ways to do it. And then I'm also doing it for sales analysis. So I've got a ton of sales reps. So I'm just logging it into like my CRM platform and using it to analyze like this deal is overdue or this deal is should be lost, or here's a lost deal where you're losing revenue. And you can easily just put like a Manus or a ChatGPT on that with some smart prompting and analyze it pretty quickly. That's been a recent iteration. But for us, like what we're doing right now for AI, which is crushing, and hopefully this doesn't become saturated, is we're just saying what's our number one competitor. So like a competitor could be like Patreon as an example. And we're just saying in Twitter, put the key term Patreon, go to search anyone that referenced Patreon, and just auto go to their inbox and just say, yo, what's up?
From your account?
From my account.
How are you connecting your account?
Just give it the login details.
On ChatGPT?
Yeah.
Just on agent mode?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Damn, bro, I'm behind. That's insane.
And I just give it the detail. And sure, I'm sure there's some like data, like, oh my God, I'm going to lose my account, whatever.
You got to take the risks
but
while
like,
you have the edge.
But like, okay, sure. Like I will just spin up another account, but this is like way easier. And so you can open like 5 different or even like 100 different like tabs of like Twitter with your account in it. And you can put all your different competitors in it and be like, your job is to search this key term, go to the inbox and DM, yo, what's up? or whatever your form of like yo what's up crushes for us because we've got so many mutuals in our ICP that like they'll reply to a yo what's up more often than not. I think we get like a 80% reply rate on that for our ICP, and that's it. And then now you've done all the cold outbound for you, right? And that's literally takes like a couple minutes to set up.
Interesting, bro. Any other cool AI use cases or tools? Those are sick.
Yeah,
That's the game.
Other than like making job descriptions really quickly or like
managerial tasks,
or like or for example like doing cold outbound for emails and like scripting, like you can put like some of us is like for us, for example, like we use Whopalizer, which is like a technology build stack plugin, which I think it uses built with underneath, and it will go to a website and it'll be like, okay, this platform uses Stripe or this platform uses X course platform or Y. We'll put the agent to use Whopalizer and identify what the tech stack is for that website, and then we'll put that into like a cold outbound campaign. Then they'll draft an email against,
smart.
and then you can then give like AI your API credentials for Apollo, or like you could just log it into Apollo. I don't think they have Cloudflare, but we use the API for it, and then it's like, okay, all I need to do is paste the website in, which you can scrape. And then it will the agent will auto go and see what the tech stack is and what funnel they have or they're building it. So maybe it's like a sales team or like a VSL or like a video sales letter or like a challenge funnel or a webinar. And then they'll take those factors in and make the cold email, and they'll find the emails associated with that website through the Apollo API. So now all you're going to need and it just sends it for you. And then you can use Superhuman, which you can just see like, oh, they opened the email or not, right? And that's like a really easy way you can just like quickly spin it up.
Yeah, I didn't know Superhuman was doxing my email opens, but
yeah,
that's
so
smart, bro.
Yeah.
So you're saying like if anyone offered a service, let's say they do Webflow development, they could use this tool to figure out if it was built with Webflow, automatically find their email through Apollo, and then automatically send out the email automation.
Exactly right. Yeah. So
and
for us,
see if they opened it.
Yeah. And so for us, it's like, or they reply. And for what we're trying to do is we're looking for CEO, head of sales, CRO, marketing. You just put the job titles in and say, go crawl this. And like, I think there's like a general perception of like AI is too complicated, or I need to code or do this. And it's just like, dude, just sit on ChatGPT for like 5 minutes and like put some brain power behind it. And like, I don't know how to code. It does like 95% of the things I need it to.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Okay, crazy, bro. First off, I didn't know that, and that was like very insightful. And honestly, one of the simplest ways to actually be using AI agents. I think agents are getting real. Right now. Like agents are like actually here.
100%.
I'm sleeping on it, bro. Okay, so I'm curious because we sell primarily payments as like a company now at Whop, and at the start, it was borderline just like a Stripe wrapper, like no real key difference at all. But now it's evolved into so much, and you've really spearheaded like the evolve. I don't know if you knew much about payments when you were 19.
Nothing.
But now you're like probably the biggest expert on payments I've ever met, and you've evolved the product so heavily. Yeah. So I'm curious though, just like how, when you were starting out, how were you able to pitch people on Whop payments over whatever competitor? Yeah. And then how you've just, what has like evolved that made, because now it's getting pretty like, we have a very competitive product. And so that's kind of what it's evolved into. Yeah. So I think for us, I would say the number one thing is building around somebody. Like pick a singular human being, ideally someone smaller in your ICP or in a peer group you care about, and just build a product around them. Like whether you pay them $100 an hour or $1,000 or you've established some sort of value to them that's not financial to build around them, just do that. And like for us, like even today, we're like, oh my God, like we've had moments where we've gotten away from our customer and we're like assumed everything they've wanted and completely missed the mark. Like we've done that countless times, and I'm sure we'll continue to do that. But like for us, it's more like, if I would say my advice is for anyone, and when we're starting off, it's like pick a customer and build around them. It's exactly what you did for content rewards, where you found like a small group of people that care about a certain product, and you just ask them, what do you want? Or what do you care about? Or what is valuable to you? And you hyper focus on that individual. I'm like calling them 3 times a day. I would check up on them regularly. I'd be like, is this actually important or valuable to you? That's what we did in the beginning. And so yes, it was a Stripe wrapper, but we would hyper focus on, hey,
we focus on specific peer groups. So we first focused on trading, and we focused on reselling and people selling Discord with Stripe. And so we hyper focused on what those customers wanted. And what we realized is, yeah, all these people are using Stripe, but they can't automatically fulfill a Discord role or add someone in automatically. And so that was the tiny little edge we found in that market. We're like, oh, this is what they find valuable. And then we hyper obsessed about it. So it was like, okay, you can process payments. You can now auto fulfill a Discord role. Now they want affiliates. So now we build in affiliates. And then it's like, now they get a dispute. How do you handle that dispute? And so for us, it was really just like, and I think it goes for all businesses. It's just an iterative process around like, you're my customer. I really care about you. What is actually valuable for your business, and not assuming what they need.
Interesting. So that's kind of how you saw people were paying for Discord servers just through Stripe, but then they had to manually add the role.
Yeah.
So it's like, let's add a nice little UI front end where you could purchase the role, automatically get assigned when the payment goes through.
Yeah.
And then remove it when the payment stops.
That's right.
Super simple, but it gave you a huge problem for this like tiny little market.
Yeah.
And you built out affiliates, and you built on offerings from that. And so I can imagine once you guys infiltrated the high ticket space probably like a year and a half ago, Stripe was kind of like an underserved area for them. There's a lot of payments, there's a lot of money at hand, so they were very upset. But then you probably got the idea. Is that where you got the idea for financing? Like, how did that all come about?
I think it's the same thing. It's just like asking a customer base, like, what do you actually need and what do you care about, and deeply understanding what they want. And I think like, it sounds like a cop out, but it's simple as just like calling a creator and being like, how's our platform servicing you today? What do you need? Or what are you noticing that's important? And like, for us today, what we've kind of evolved into, and like with iterative conversations, is we've realized that like businesses really care about accepting money and paying out money, and how can we do that most effectively? And that's and realizing that, okay, businesses at this current stage don't really care about the bells and whistles of like, maybe, I don't know, like we've tried rolling out like a leads feature or like a tracking links feature, and it didn't really like crush for them. Some of it, sure, some people care because we just got a lot of users, but like when you really boil it down, is people care about accepting money and they care about paying money. Okay, cool. What do they care about in that? They care about rates. They care about the most efficient way of accepting those funds. They care about failed payments. They care about, which is payment acceptance. They care about what are the different options people can pay. They care about the fees. So it's like all of those things they care about, and like, how can we be number one in that, I think, is what it's evolved into. But for us, it's like, we're in payments now because you can't run a business if you can't accept a customer and collect the money. Once we've nailed that, which we're getting really close to doing, then it's like, okay, you can accept your money. We're the best place to do that. We're the best place to pay out. What are you actually fulfilling, right? And that's the next step. And then it's like, okay, now that you're fulfilling this, how do we get that in front of way more people, which is distribution?
Right. Interesting. So, and the only way you learned this was by doing sales calls, pitching something that people were not interested in, taking that pain of them just being like, fuck off. And then realizing, okay, people don't care about the affiliates that much or the tracking stuff. Yeah. But when I mentioned this thing, I heard on the call, they mentioned they had financing over here. Yeah. What's that? Let's look into it. And you really just like perfected this offer.
The greatest, I've had so many people shut me down like so aggressively. And one of my all-time favorite lines that's worked is, you'll be like doing $100K a month and you'll think you're God's given gift. You'll and I'm like on the back end, I'm like, brother, like we have businesses doing $10 million per month. You're not him, right? I love asking like, okay, Brett, you're doing $100,000 a month right now, or whatever amount of money. Why aren't you doing $3 million per month?
And I'm going to be clueless.
And you're going to be like, well, like, and you drill into that. And like, it's funny, like a sales call or like a product feedback call, an interview, or even a date with a romantic partner really comes down to just asking questions and double clicking into it. And that's it.
You've almost been on so many calls that you're like treating it like a consulting call.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm just going to teach you how to do it, bro.
Yes, where it's like, like I always like to say this analogy, it's like being on a date with a girl, where it's like, okay, if I speak at you the entire time, you're going to come away and say, you're the most heinous, egotistical man I've ever been on a date with. But if I just ask you questions and I continue asking more questions and let you speak and then double click and have genuine curiosity into it, you're going to be like, oh my God, he was so good at listening to me. He's the best person I ever met. And I probably didn't speak at all, like any of my opinions. And so I would almost treat it as like, for whenever I'm teaching like a sales rep, or even just in general in life, how I operate now is I use a principle of never guess, where like I could assume like like if you talk about fees, like I could say like, oh, you're paying 12% processing fees right now on Patreon. That sucks. We can get you at 3%. Or I could be like, Brett, how much are you paying right now in fees? And you'll be like, oh, I'm paying 12%. And then I'll be like, oh, have you ever thought about getting that cheaper? Or if we could get that at 2%, would you care? And then you might say no. And then I might be like, okay, what do you care about? Right? So I think
just keep it going.
And it's more just like, and even with interviews, like I could come up with like a whole list of interviews and like, what was a moment where you felt like you were adaptive, or like those cliche interviews. Or I could just ask you, like, tell me about yourself for 5 minutes and then drill you aggressively on that. Because what you'll find is like, one, I learn more detailed information about you. Two, in an interview context, like most people can't go 3 layers deep on anything, and you can tell if they're, full of it or not. And then for product feedback, like you just ask why, and you get into actually the key crux of the issue. If I was to you, like, what's your biggest issue with Whop? You'll be like, oh, it's payments. Okay, what am I going to do with that?
Yeah.
Okay, so I think it's like your ability to triple click into things is like probably the most important thing, and that's how I guess I do all of that.
That's so interesting, bro. But really digging into the actual like reason that they're having problems with payments, because usually the problem that they think they're having is not the real problem.
No,
Yeah.
like Cameron loves this analogy, and I'll steal it from him. It's like if Henry Ford was like, if Henry Ford listened to customer feedback, he would have a faster horse, not a car.
Exactly.
Right, and so I don't know.
That's a perfect way to think about it. Because people don't know what they don't know, and like I'm clueless with payments. So I'm curious, because I probably understand payments way too little for the fact that I work here. So like, that's a problem. I'm very curious, like when you were starting, like we're ramping up, like growing the fastest we've ever grown. Shout out to you. Yeah. So you've been here for 3.5 years though, and the compound growth is like absurd. Like this is like the most, we're like hitting like escape velocity thanks to the sales team. So it's like, what is different about the offer right now that's like leading to like such exponential growth? Because now you have a huge team. Yeah. And so like what has, like if you could just explain the evolution of like the payments product and how you pitched it, that'd be very interesting for me.
Yeah. So originally we're like a Stripe Connect product. So we were pretty much wrapping Stripe as a product. Now we have our own like KYC, we have our own pay in. So for example, if a payment will fail on Stripe, we'll actually route that under the hood to a different processor so that the customer doesn't notice and you get more payments acceptance. And then we have our own payout system. So we can pay you out in Bitcoin or Venmo, whatever that is. I think the real differentiator is really just like, can you collect payments? So like we've rolled out financing options for now, like maybe like a traditional like education, like almost 90% of traditional education is built on student loans. If you want to, for example, sell a course or you sell a product, you can now apply to be able to do like a soft credit pull or like a hard credit or new lines of credit to be able to buy products. That's one. I think the other side is like rates. So for us, we want to try and be as cheaper than anywhere else. And I think especially on sales, we can move a lot of levers compared to like sticker price. And then 3, like, can you like I could argue with all day of fees, but if I can tell you, like, you get 10% of more of your payments to go through if you were on us compared to your existing setup, that's a huge amount of value. So I think it's iterated from that. I would say like, what's funny about in general, like payments is it's never actually Stripe. That's the issue. I actually love Stripe. Like it's funny. Like people are always like, Whop's built on Stripe, like this sucks, like Stripe's the enemy, where it's like, actually, no, it's Visa, MasterCard, and Amex that are oftentimes the problems, the card networks. And I think Stripe gets a lot of heat for that. And I think like from our end, it's communicating that is oftentimes where the disconnect comes, I would say. But I don't know, it's funny, like I get a lot of kicks out of whenever someone's like, oh, Whop, held my money or something. I'm like, dude, you have a 7% dispute rate. If you withdraw all your cash from our platform and then you've got another dispute for, let's say, $5,000, Whop would lose $5,000. And so it's like, there's sometimes a disconnect there. It's just like how it is.
But it's very interesting because like these like big payment processors, like obviously they're like very quality what they do, but like we're kind of like stacking them to make sure that people like internet entrepreneurs, whether you sell a software or a course or whatever, if you sell online, you have a global audience, and there's different ones that are accepted in different countries for like legal reasons or whatever, like not even like a technical thing, just like literally jurisdictions. And so we've just been able to stack all of them, but then from the front end for the user experience, it only feels like one seamless experience.
It's one checkout, multiple processors under the hood.
And so like previously, if I was going to sell a course on my channel and I had people in Brazil watching me, me, they wouldn't be able to buy my product just straight up. But Whop has basically enabled that for all software.
Yeah, the payment game is really interesting. Like if you look at N8N today, they're using Paddle as how they're processing transactions. And the reason why they use Paddle is because Paddle has registered itself as an entity in multiple different countries to collect tax and remit tax. And so like from a sales lens, like we can come to Paddle, and this is why Never Guess is so important. And we can drill in and be like, actually, it's not rates, it's not the payment options, it's actually tax remittance that you really care about. And so when you get into the payments game, it's really just like, it becomes so important to like ask what the actual issues are. Because like for us, like a value proposition that people don't realize is we have an entity in Europe and we can accept customers in Europe, and we can make you pay as low as 1.5%. Because the actual domestic card rate of Europe is 1.5%, versus if someone doesn't have an EU entity, you not only have to pay 2.9%, which is sticker rate for accepting a US domestic transaction, you also pay a 1% international fee. So now the value proposition is, okay, am I going to pay 3.9% as a US company to accept an EU customer, or can I pay 1.5? And if you're doing volume, that becomes a huge value prop.
Yeah. So like huge businesses are starting to use Whop. Like enterprise software companies. It was so surprising. I never expected this. Like I thought it was like a little creative platform. But now it's like
we're at the size now where it's like our biggest business does like $10 million per month now, pretty consistently. They're like a bigger SaaS, I would argue. And we're from a sales side now. I'm trying to think through. Okay, I've got all these reps. How do I expand business models, not just from coaching to now like any way people make money? And so like, I think we as a company, Whop is often seen as like either like a content rewards platform, a course platform, or doing too much at once. But what we really are is we're a business model platform where it's like, okay, content rewards is the most popular business model. We're going to go after that. Coaching is a really popular business model. We're going to do that. And now that we have really good payments, now we can go into other business models like a SaaS or like brick and mortar even, where, you know, or even e-commerce, where like Shopify's value proposition is like they have checkout links that are really high converting. That's what they have. They have checkout pages that are really high converting, and they have really good, like building a product's really easy. And like some would say it's hard, but let's give them the benefit of the doubt. It's easy. It's straightforward. And then they have fraud, so anti-payments fraud, so they don't lose a lot of money. And they have anti-seller fraud, and they have a bunch of third-party apps that they fulfill. So when you boil it down, it's like, okay, Shopify has really low rates and a couple bells and whistles, but like nothing, I would say, revolutionary. They've just gotten to like the size of a platform where they can say like it's 2.4% processing rates and $999. And so now that we've got our payment stuff in order and, you know, we're able to go super competitive on that, we're now thinking, okay, and I think it's making our product a lot clearer and our offering a lot clearer, is like, okay, we can service any business model now with our payments. Let's go do it. And then you have the obviously the app stuff, which you're really huge on, is now that we have payments, we don't even need to think about that. Now it's focusing on how can anyone do like, I would say like the engagement layer of things, like what products did people want to sell on the internet? What's trendy?
And then hopefully the marketplace is more just like an index of what online business models are like working, trending, or like in fashion right now.
Yeah.
I think it's the coolest product in the world, bro.
Yeah. I don't know. It's interesting. It's like, we're almost like open sourcing the key fundamental ingredient. Like to make a cake, you need like flour, eggs, baking soda, sugar. Like you need payment processing, tax remittance, a dashboard, affiliates. Like those are the key core ingredients. And you could decorate your cake in like red. I could decorate my cake in pink. And that's kind of what we're trying to do for business models. And I think from the outside, it doesn't make sense yet. But if you think about content rewards, all you're really doing is you're accepting payments and you're paying out people. And you have engagement associated with that. And you have distribution. And that's like your ingredients of the cake.
Yeah.
And so now it's like, okay, that could be a content rewards, or it could be a coaching offer, or it could be merch, or it could be a prop firm, or it could be a funded sports betting challenge is now a huge thing, where sports bettors are saying, I don't want to do a paid community anymore. I want to make the prop firm for sports. Or now the new thing is like a lovable no code SaaS. And so we're trying to race really aggressively to make sure that us as a platform, which we haven't really seen too many people do, have all of those elements to make the ultimate cake, which is how you make money online.
Really, we just give them like the skeleton, like the chat, the form, if you need to communicate with your customers.
Yeah.
So it's pretty cool, bro.
Yeah, it's not there yet, but we're getting
We're on
there.
our way. I think it's the platform of all internet business.
Yeah.
Or just use payments, because you'll be able to finance your coaching offer just like the colleges do. Level the playing field for the coaching people.
For sure.
All right. Well, my dude, I think this is probably, moving forward, the first podcast I will be sending to anyone getting into software and sales in general. This is probably I would safely say, one of the most valuable podcasts I've ever shot. So thank you for coming on here.
Appreciate it.
There's no one else I'd rather be in war with. You're an exceptional human.
Thank you.
Absolutely built an amazing empire, and it's really just started. So very excited to continue doing this with you. What is your name? Where can people find you? Let's close things out.
Yeah, I'm Hunter Dickinson. You can find me as @Gronkwiz on Twitter or @Gronkwiz on Instagram. And thank you for having me.
Of course, bro. If you guys need payments, that's your guy.